So, welcome. You guys feeling good this morning, I hope? So, we're going to look at this. All right. So, today, what we're going to be looking at is support and resistance, right? Remember, I told you guys that you need to choose a currency pair that you want to practice with. Very important. And we also said last week we're going to look at the time zones for trading. So you guys may want to look into that. So we're going to look at support and resistance. We're looking at time zones. What else are we going to be looking at today? We're going to looking at about the type of traders and why people trade. So we're looking at time zones. Very important. Time zones. Now, this is the reason why I'm saying to you guys, like, if the case may be for the class, if you don't have a watch, I would like for you guys to get a watch, right? Very important. Now, that being said, let's look at support and resistance today and see how best we can actually move into that. So we're going to be watching a video today about support and resistance. And also, if you're talking about support and resistance, we got to look at market structure. So we have market structure. So we're going to look at market structure and support and resistance. So let's look at these and see how we best can understand it. All right, let's begin. So what you're seeing right here in my chart basically is the MT4 chart. Also, I want you guys to know that this exists as well, known as Trading View. So you guys can be a chart and Trading View as well. So I want you guys to know this as well. You guys have you still can see my screen, yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do not mute your mic. Do not mute your mic. Talk to me when I'm talking to you. It's the only way I can know that you guys are listening and see what I'm doing. Okay. But you guys can use Trading View as well to do your charts. And I'll get back to that in a minute. But what I want you guys to understand is that this option is here. Traders do use Trading View. So for you guys there that have a system in place right now, what I want you guys to do is to look at how can you use other tools. So you can go tradingview.com, www.tradingview.com, and you can use that as well. I want you guys to know that you can use that. But also what we're going to be looking at is today is the MT4, which I use all the time. Okay, so Trading View does exist. We normally do use the chart to be analyzed on Trading View. Okay, so what you're looking at here as well is the patterns in the charts. And as we looked last week, we were looking at support and how the resistance happened within support and resistance. Also, we looked at the contraction, expansion, and we're going to a trend. But before we look into all of that, I want you guys to understand that support and resistance is key into any market. Okay, so I want you guys to look here. And this is, by the way, this is a 5-minute chart that I'm looking at. But also, I want you guys to look between the different charts, and you will see a pattern being played out. So if you look further here, let's go to our time frame, and you'll see the charts going down, going up, going sideways, going back down. But in between all this going up and down, you'll see these small time frame playing out. So what is this called? And why did the chart go here, chart, the candle, I mean, go here, stop, then it goes down, stop here, then it goes back up here and stop, and go back here, stop, and go back up here and stop. This is known as support and resistance. So there's something in the market that is affecting that, and that is known as price. So we're gonna touch base on price action as well, and price channel, all these things. So what we want to be touching base on really is zeroing in on support and resistance, okay? Before we reach to the stage right now. So let's take it a notch back and start look at the basic of what support and resistance, and how do you get it to actually use it to your benefit. So we're gonna look at here. This is a chart that I was looking at within Tradera, and I think this will best explain in itself as it relates to support and resistance, and how does the price move over a period of time. It goes up to a higher time frame. So imagine it as a tunnel, and the price hit one high to the next, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. So this is known as support and resistance when the price or the, so let's go. Let's watch this video right here, give you some more insights.
Welcome everyone, my name is Cody Sell, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at support and resistance. Now this is going to be an introductory video for many of you, and we're going to be going over what exactly support and resistance is from a conceptual standpoint, and then we're going to be moving forward and taking a look at what it actually looks like in a real financial.
I'm not seeing the video.
Spot it. Mark it up.
So let's see. So stop. I gotta go back and share my screen. Seeing it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we're gonna be looking at right now, and
Yes, sir.
This presentation is gonna be done by Cody Sell, and he's one of the founders of Tradera. But also you can actually learn a lot from him. I've been learning from him as well. We're gonna be looking at the support and resistance right now. So let's go back into that. Sorry, I didn't see that. So I'm also gonna restart this video so you can get an understanding of it.
Welcome everyone, my name is Cody Sell, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at support and resistance. Now this is going to be an introductory video for many of you, and we're going to be going over what exactly support and resistance is from a conceptual standpoint, and then we're going to be moving forward and taking a look at what it actually looks like in a real financial market, how you can spot it, mark it up, and then use it to trade. And this is going to be an introductory video for the entire series of videos on support and resistance. Now, I've got us pulled up on EuroJPY, but before I can take you all into the actual market, we have to take a look at what support and resistance is from a conceptual standpoint. So I'm going to pull us out of the market for a second so that we can take a look at that. All right, so I want you to imagine that you are in a hallway. So here is our hallway right here. All right, we have our floor right here. And then we have our ceiling right here. All right, so we're walking down this hallway, and I want you to imagine that you're bouncing a bouncy ball down the hallway. Okay, now I want you to imagine that you bounce this ball against the ground as hard as you can. So you throw the ball at the floor. When the ball hits the floor, what is the ball going to do? Of course, it's going to bounce up, and because you bounced it really hard, it's going to bounce up all the way to the ceiling. Now the ceiling is strong, stronger than the ball, and what's going to happen is when the ball hits the ceiling is going to repel the ball all the way back down to the floor. And if you bounce the ball hard enough, it's going to keep going back and forth until the end of the hallway. So imagine that there is an open door right here at the end of the hallway, and when the ball reaches the end of the hallway, it bounces right out the door, and because there's nothing left to repel it, it bounces right on up past the ceiling and continues on to the upside. This analogy of you walking down a hallway and bouncing a bouncy ball against the floor and the ceiling is synonymous with how price moves in the financial markets between support and resistance. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change the word floor to support. And we're going to change the word ceiling to resistance. And what we've got now is price moving in between support in the market and resistance in the market. So what happens is price will come down to a level that has historically acted as support that price then bounces from all the way up until it finds a level that price has historically rejected from. It's been held at. And then from there, price moves back to support, and thus you have the saga in the financial markets where price is consistently and always moving between some kind of support or resistance at all times. So if you can understand this conceptually, it's going to help you tremendously on your trading journey to understand that at any given time in the financial market, no matter what pair you have pulled up, no matter what day it is, what time frame it is, what you're doing, price is moving between some kind of support or resistance. Now, there are a lot of different kinds and categories of support and resistance. In this series specifically, we're taking a look at horizontal support and resistance. But what we're going to see at a later time is that there are many different types. So just to clarify, in this video, we're looking at horizontal support and resistance. And when we say support, what we're talking about is a level in the market that has historically supported price. And when we talk about resistance, what we're talking about specifically is a level in the market which has historically rejected price or pushed price down. So this is fundamentally what support and resistance is. Now let's go back into the market and see if we can identify real support and resistance in action. All right, so now we're back on Euro JPY. We're going to look at applying that information to the real charts. So let's start off over here on the left-hand side of the chart and take a look. Do you notice how over here we have a peak in the market? So we were rising over here all the way up into this area, and then we began to fall. That's a peak in the market. Price came up to this point and rejected several times. So let's get rid of this. Let's circle this area here. And then let's make note of this right in here. All right, this was some kind of resistance over here. Now we continued down at that point. So once we found our resistance here, we continued down. And from this point right here, we had a valley in the market. Price rose from here. It did a few things and then it came back down to the same spot, rose back up, came back down to the same spot, rose back up all the way to our resistance right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to note this valley right here where price found support. We're going to note this valley right here where price found support. We're going to note this valley right here where price found support. And we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to add another line down here. Now notice that price found support once, twice, 3 times. Okay, so what we've got down here is a support. All right, and we will put this here, put this over here, and pull this over here. All right, this is our support line down here. All right, and I want you guys to ignore everything to the left of this for just a moment. We're going to get back to this in just a moment. Focus on these circles and understand the concept here, just the simple concept of support and resistance. And over here, where we found resistance, and it's one big circle, but really, if you look, there's 3 arrows here. We bounced once, twice, 3 times, 4 times actually, 5 times. There's a lot of instances in here of resistance. So we're going to now call this our resistance. Okay, so off in here we've got our hallway here, our 2 blue lines, and that's our hallway. We've got our bouncy ball right here, and what's the bouncy ball doing? Comes up to the resistance, comes down to the support, comes up to the resistance, comes down to the support, comes back up to the resistance, comes down to support, comes back up to the resistance, etc. Just like we had talked about before. Price is simply moving between this resistance formed here and the support formed over here. And so sure enough, over here on the right-hand side, when we come back up to our resistance level, what does price do? Of course, it falls from the ceiling back down to the floor, just like that. And then, of course, once we're at our support, what does price do? Finds support, continues to rise from this area all the way back up to our resistance over here on the right-hand side. Okay? There we go. Right there. Okay. So this is a basic understanding of what support and resistance actually looks like in the market.
All right, guys, do you understand what he just said a while ago? So this is the
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
all right, so basically, thank you. So basically, you can see how the support, the resistance, and the support, and if you put it into a channel, it goes up and down. So the chart going up and down in crossway, right? So all these are taking place within support and resistance as relates to it is contracting, expanding, and then it goes into a trend, right? Either going a trend down or going a trend going up. And we talked about last week as it relates to bearish and bullish.
Bearish and
Bearish
bullish.
and bullish.
Bearish trend, yes, sir.
So going down, that is bearish,
That's bearish.
and going up, going
Bullish.
bullish, right? So what we want to focus on is resistance and support. So the market is always happening in a channel. So between these two lines is the channel going across. As you realize something, I want to cross something and show you is the same thing right here when I was showing you guys into the trading view. So what he was using a while ago is something called, well, it's an app itself and is known as trading view. Okay, so this is my trading view. I got a few charts in there as well that I use, but I use my MT4 a lot more. So what I'm saying? So you guys need to download that as well, okay? Very important. So if you guys want to learn about that, you can, okay? So trading view, you can use it to do your charts and do your analysis and so on. You can. See what I'm saying? So you may want to download this as well. But I'm gonna come to that in a bit. I use my MT4, so it's two different things. TradingView.com, you can use to do your assessments and do your charts, analysis, and so on, right? The same thing Cody was using, right? I use it sometimes myself.
Yes, sir.
All right. But this is my MT4. I love my MT4. You can actually do the same thing here on your MT4. Got it? So it's the same thing right here as it relates to price and the structure of the market. So let me just remove these lines right here so you guys can get an understanding of what I'm saying. And you will see the same thing playing out right in front of your eyes. Very easy, very straightforward. So I'm just going to remove all these entries that I have here and setups. And that, my friend, is on a 1 hour time frame. So remember that we're looking at the forward chart, and it's called a bias trend because to show you where the market is going, right? And do remember that we look at the last two candles. We look at where it's indicating. In this case, if it's going sideways, you know, it's consolidating. Also, we want to look at how does support and resistance play out here. So this is time frame now. It shows in a different time frame how the chart may look. So this is an hour time frame where we do our analysis. So I'm bringing you guys up to speed. So if you can go on a lower time frame, you're gonna realize it's gonna look different. 15, going to 5. So I'm saying going to a minute. So I'm saying, so right here, what we're gonna look for is support and resistance. And then how does this play out in the real world? What do I mean by this? So let's move the chart over a bit like that. And let me expand it just a bit and see if we can get some traction here. Now watch this. It's the same chart. This is a 5-minute, by the way. And we're looking for support and resistance. How does it play out right here into the MT4? Go here, we drop a line. For example, I'm gonna change this line here. I'm gonna change this line to a thicker line. Change the color as well. So let's use white. So right here is like a channel in itself. Same thing. You see it playing out now? Start to see play out?
Sir, the chart freeze.
Chart.
Yes, sir. The chart freeze.
Seeing it now? We're good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
So basically here you can see it playing out here as well. Goes down, goes up, support and resistance. You seeing it playing out now? So look, got
Yes,
it?
sir.
So support and resistance is always there. You just identify. So within the support and the resistance, the same thing, right? It has these elements to it, which is it contracts, expands and go into a trend.
And
Contracts again, expands and go into a trend. You see how this works out now? Hold on. See that? Right there. Same thing taking place right here, right now. See that? Goes up. So right here, this is the roof of it. So if I should move this right here to the top of the candle, see that? Right there, right here. Same thing that is playing out right in front of you. So right here, well, right there we call. Right here is called at the top of the
resistance.
resistance. So if we take it from the perspective here, we'd have to bring up the stick a bit. So I'm saying, and if we're gonna do it to the whole chart, it's gonna be the last point. It's gonna be up there, over here. So let's bring it down right here, on top of here. So now you can see same thing that is playing out right here in front of your eyes, right here. So this in itself is resistance. Simple as that. Simple, easy, very straightforward. So this becomes resistance. And I'm just touching base on this because I know that the time, you know, it's very tight for the lessons, but for you to get, but I want you guys to get an idea what we're talking about. So I'm saying this is going to be the resistance up here, and this is going to be what? The support, right? So the support is going to be down here. We got it?
Yes, sir.
So that is itself. So it's working within a time frame. So you will see the time frame we're looking at right is 5 minutes. So each time frame have a different support and resistance level. So the same thing here. If you look at it, support and resistance, and then it goes up, goes down. So here it is. So let that one stay there for a minute. Hold on. Same thing. It goes back down here. Goes back here. Then it goes down again. That's to represent the green candle. Then it goes up again. That represent the green. See it? So that's support and resistance playing out. Same thing. So instead of just give you a chart like that, I want to show you in practical terms what it looks like. And then these little two here just go down again. See it? Support and resistance from the last point, goes up, come back down. So right here would be a next resistance right here. So the next resistance would have been right here, the last high, right here. See it? So the next thing we need to think about is you have higher highs, higher and higher lows. Okay, so this is high, and this is a higher low. So you realize up here is a higher time frame. It goes here, and then how does it gonna break through here? because it can go back here again. And what if this candle here breaks and it goes all the way through here? So I'm saying, so you guys need to look into that some more. As it relates to market structure, support and resistance. So you have price that affects it. And price affects the market in any way, up or down. Okay. So let me just show you back what he was saying. So I just fast track all this. You see the video here. I'll send you guys some videos in the group as well as relates. Are you seeing this the chart?
Support breaks.
Yes, sir.
It becomes resistance.
No, sir, we're not seeing the video.
When
All right, so
resistance breaks, it becomes support.
So we got 5 minutes.
Okay, now
I'll show you.
What does that mean exactly? So let's come back to our conceptual example. Price was moving in between our boundaries, in between our floor and our ceiling,
right,
in between our support and our resistance. But then, at the end of the hallway, when the door was open, there was nothing left to push the ball down, and so it bounced.
So this is where we were. I want to show you how does the price affect. So we remember the corridor. And as the price goes, we want to see how does it breaks.
We saw that price did what? Price came up to the resistance, because keep in mind we're below the level, and then dropped. And then price came back up to our resistance and then dropped. And then price came back up to our resistance, dropped, and then finally broke through and then went on to create a new resistance in the market. But what's important here to understand is that this level that we earlier identified is a support level over here. Previously, it was acting as what? It was acting as resistance. Get rid of these blue markings here and this arrow. So here we have our first example. What started as a resistance level then became a support level once it was breached, which is why all of these levels are called support and resistance levels. Over here, we have a resistance in the market. Let's see what happens when this level is breached. Here we go. So price breached through our resistance, came back and found support, and then went on to a new resistance.
So you understand?
So you can see here again.
So you see it breaks here and it goes over the line. See that? Same thing I was showing you. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very important. Not all this can be learned in one class, but I'm trying to open your mindset and to show you what you're dealing with. See what I'm saying? So it's not going to stay in the channel. It's going to actually goes up. It's going to break, come back down into the previous support and resilient channel, and it's going to find new highs or lows. So you have higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. So in its sense, you realize right here, this would be a higher high, and then you have a lower lows. So I'm saying, so even though a lower high, so this is a lower high, but it's higher than what we had before. as relates to here. So here versus here, which is higher, right here, right? And
Yes, sir.
higher. This is called a higher high, and this is called a higher low. So I'm saying, same thing I was showing you here on the MT4 chart. I'm trying to go between both charts so you guys can understand it. Same thing that we touch base over here. Seeing this again? Seeing about the MT4 chart?
Yes, sir. Seeing it.
But this is gonna
Yes, sir.
take a lot more practice to understand how does support and resistance works as it relates to the price. And price action does affect everything in the market. Price. Okay, so as you can see up here would be a higher high, and then here would be low. It goes back up, down. So if you go along here, you realize the time frame. See this? So the higher high here would be all up here. So you gotta go left to go to actually know to see what right is doing. Do you see that? So I can put a next higher high with a higher time frame, a line up here. And this is known as a trend line up here. See that? You guys not gonna get it in one go, but we can go through this a few times. I'm trying
Yes,
to
sir.
simplify it so you guys can get it. So you have a higher time frame there, low. See that? So here, the resistance can also be support. So this here, this area can turn from being a resistance to be a support. And what I'm saying is it could break through and go all the way back up to this time frame here, the higher high. Time